Join me tonight, where the only thing that keeps us safe from the endless, dark wilderness is a pair of waning headlights as we journey down the Eerie Road.
Imagine, if you will, a world where the very beauty of nature is a guise to something far more sinister. Where the woods that surround us hold secrets beyond our wildest fathoms, and where adventure is just a step away from terror. I'm Art Ring, your host, and tonight we bring you tales to make your skin crawl and your heart race.
Dog-faced pony boy.
I was in Syria on a visit from Australia back in the late 90s. I saw two dogs in the distance, about 30 meters away, lit up by a bright moon. They had faces that looked human. I seriously froze. They walked up to about 10 meters away and looked totally flipping human. One of them growled, so I fired off a round, and they ran away. I immediately headed back home, looking over my shoulder the whole way. I told my aunt what I saw, and the house erupted in laughter. It was some local ghost story. Everyone had an encounter with them at one stage or something. F those dogs.
My little killer.
I walk at night in my rural area regularly. I've encountered black bears, coyotes, bobcats, angry deer, and everything on down, with no real concern. But the creepiest encounter was a little black pickup truck with rainbow and unicorn stickers. Bubblegum pop music blaring, and it smelled like cotton candy when it passed me. The first time it passed me, it swerved to hit me. I jumped out of the way easily. I thought nothing of it really, just figured they were startled by seeing me at night with my reflective gear. The truck circled back and came at me again. I saw it coming this time and grabbed my dog up just in time to jump into a ditch. I heard little girl laughter, high-pitched and maniacal. The tiny truck circled back for a third go at me, but by then, I was hiding in my neighbor's shrubbery. I watched it slowly drive down the road, hearing giggling as it passed me. Fortunately, it kept on going, and I made it home just fine.
That's not a tree.
I drove to a park to go hiking at night in the mountains, so safe, I know. And I hadn't even turned off my car, and I already feel like I'm being watched. There weren't any cars around, so I thought maybe it was just me being paranoid for some reason. But when I looked to my right, and I saw this weird-looking humanoid shape on top of the little bump hill, about 50 feet away. At first, I thought it was a weirdly shaped tree until I saw the arms move. No wind at all. So now I know there's a person staring at my car trying not to move, for what I assume is for me to get out of my car and leave to a more secluded area as we were next to the road. Of course, I left, and I don't go hiking at night in that particular park anymore.
The animal shrine.
It's not intending to mock any religion or beliefs, and I really don't know which group this would be credited to anyway. Wiccans? Druids? Just a psycho? Anyway, I was hiking through a park in central Florida about 3 years ago. Kind of dense scrub brush. You can only see the trail in front of you. Brush is chest high on both sides. I'm about 2 miles from the nearest trailhead, and it's around 7 p.m. I had an hour of light left. I had intended on setting camp when I found the next clearing. First clearing, I get to it, and it has a gator head in the middle with a circle of stones around it. Maybe 2 to 3 weeks old. Just a dried skull with scales. Soft tissue was gone. I had seen gator skulls left by poachers before, and I usually ignored it, but it gave me a weird vibe, so I kept walking. About 15 minutes later, and deeper in, I get to another nice-sized clearing. This time, a few dead birds were strung up to some sticks and hanging in a circle, like a mobile over a baby crib. 7 or 8 small birds. Maybe 4 feet across, and it had been there for a while. It didn't smell anymore at least. It's still creepy enough to send me on my way. Third time's the charm, right? Wrong. 20 minutes later, and after taking to side paths to get away from the main trail and hopefully avoid any other displays, I find a fresh one. A deer head on a stick, with sticks scattered around making 4 circles around the base of the stick. The blood was splattered all around the sticks. Fresh enough for the flies to still be on it. The head smelled rancid. Didn't see the body, but I didn't look for it either. I got out of there. It was dark before I got back to my truck. Called Fish and Game the next morning because the gator and deer would have been taken out of season. Told them what I found, and apparently, this wasn't the first time somebody called about animal effigies in that park. Never went back, but I am curious just how many other shrines were out there.
The Final Frontier.
I have spent many a night hiking in deserts and mountains and never felt uncomfortable or saw anything creepy until the time I looked up. I took a night hike to some petroglyphs not too far from Durango. Company I was alone, was about an hour hike, and it was just after midnight when I got to the petroglyphs. Checked them out, then sat on a ledge and busted out some summer sausage and my flask of whiskey. I look up to the sky, and way up there is a speck moving pretty quickly. I've seen this before and been told it's the International Space Station or a satellite. So I'm watching it zoom across the sky thinking how cool it is, when it suddenly reverses direction. My mind is doing mental gymnastics trying to figure it out. Maybe two satellites passed each other, and I lost sight of the one I was originally watching. Except it happened again, and it went back the other way on a slightly different course. I actually stood up and said, "What the F?" I don't know much about space, but I felt really uneasy watching that white speck way up there doing that. Like my mind is seeing something it knows shouldn't be happening. And then I felt a sense of dread, which was bizarre. And then I lost sight of the speck completely and hightailed it back to my truck.
Never forget that sometimes, the most unsettling stories are the ones that lie just beyond the edge of the tree line, where the light fades to darkness.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the moon rises high above the Eerie Road, we must bid you farewell from the depths of the wilderness. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's spine-tingling journey through the dark and mysterious woods.